Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of The Truth with the Tech Boy Show. Today, we're going to be talking about sports. So, Sports Tech is here with you today. Not Sports Brett, but Sports Tech. So, hopefully, you guys can see this on the screen. We're going to be talking about Gerard Mayo, probably one of the worst coaches in football. And we're reacting to this video about him from Matt Walsh. Fun fact about me in sports, kind of. I've never met a high school cheerleader in high school. We didn't have them. Well, I mean, we did. They were in between the ages of 5 and 5th grade, but that doesn't count. But I did have a rivalry and basically create a war the minute I stepped foot on, 8th grade soil, and then created, while I was in 8th grade, created a whole year-long war that was mostly ended by COVID, with some of the random 8th grade high school cheerleader. 8th grade middle school, but 8th grade middle school cheerleader. Nonetheless, here we go. That's an SSA LTW story. Anyway, here we go. Here is Matt Walsh. So, without further ado, I know the people from that podcast hate that saying, but anyway, let's go.
Is of no interest to many of you, but the NFL playoffs start next week.
Let's go, and the Texans are going to beat the Chargers. Mark my words, guarantee it. In fact, here's a graphic of what's going to happen. You have to update it to switch to Commanders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Falcons and the Rams. But anyway, here's a graphic right here on the screen. The Texans will win the Super Bowl. Mark my words.
This weekend, my Baltimore Ravens will play the Pittsburgh Steelers in Baltimore.
Unfortunately, and the Baltimore Ravens are going to lose that game, and the Steelers are going to win. The Broncos are going to win, and the Bills are going down. And then obviously the Texans are going to win. So it's going to be Texans, Steelers. Texans beat the Steelers. Chiefs will beat the Broncos, and we'll be rid of the Ravens once and for all.
Baltimore on Saturday night. And I'll be watching the game with my whole family, as I have over the course of many years. I have successfully indoctrinated my kids into Raven fandom. I have to say, it's actually kind of difficult.
This is why you should not homeschool your kids, because then you can indoctrinate them into believing ridiculous things like being a Ravens fan. Imagine being a Ravens fan and living in Tennessee. Nope, you got your team. They got whooped on, but you got to support that team.
Wash your kids into caring about your favorite football team. At least I found that it is. This is a challenge that nobody tells you about. There are no parenting books about it. Slowly but surely, though, my kids have come into the fold. Though they still have a long way to go before.
Come on. Be Texans fans, kids. Be Texans fans, because I know y'all don't have internet access on. Like, you don't know who I am. But if you do watch this, please know we want you to be Texans fans. Texans fans.
Or they know what it's like to have their day actually ruined because the guys in a certain colored jersey scored fewer guys in the other colored jersey.
And the blue and yellow jerseys are going to score 2. No, not 2. 3. There we go. 3 points. And the red and blue jerseys are going to score 40. 40 to 3. That's a good score. Go Texans.
We'll get there this year. Maybe we can all experience the crushing heartbreak together when the Ravens inevitably lose by 3 points in the second round of the playoffs. It'll be a family bonding experience. This is what being a sports fan is all about. Yeah. But there was another source of excitement in the NFL world this week. Monday was the day when the teams that didn't make the playoffs started firing their coaches. Yep. A day that over the years has been dubbed Black Monday. The New England Patriots certainly qualify as a bad team after.
They were awful. I mean, absolutely awful, okay? I believe when Texans played okay against them, we blew them out by 20. We beat them 40-21. It was the first start of their new quarterback, who was a lot better than whoever they had starting. It was on like their 6th week. They went on this losing skid. Gerard Mayo, we were comparing him to C.J. Johnson, who's one play with the Houston Roughnecks, which is a UFL team. So it's kind of like the minor leagues of the NFL, kind of, which is a UFL team, whose one play was run middle. On 4th and 6, run middle. 4th and 6, 7 seconds left on the time clock. Terrible time management. It's like some terrible throw. The quarterbacks aren't that good. Still, like, he was an awful coach. We're comparing that to him. We were also comparing him to the Michigan backup coach who went in when Harbaugh got suspended, when he had, talent on his team. So he was able to get through 5 games, and then, Harbaugh came back and they won a national championship, in 2024. Well, this year he became the full-time head coach. Awful. Totally awful. I mean, he lost to Texas. He lost to some of these other teams. Like, they were still ranked, and they lost to some teams that they should have been beating. So we were comparing him to like these other trash coaches around the league. Gerard Mayo, I mean, he was not good at all. Right? And I say this as a football fan. I watch lots of football, primarily the Texans, but I know about the Patriots, and they weren't good. They could have done better. They could have done better than 3-14. So he deserves his firing.
After winning only 4 games this season, so they fired their coach, a guy named Gerard Mayo, after 1 year coaching the team. Now, we talked about Gerard Mayo on this show actually almost exactly a year ago when he was originally hired, and he used his introductory.
Yes, he's just started sitting there yapping. And you know if someone starts sitting there yapping about a race or something, that they're not going to be a good coach. And you have to put up their shields about that. You don't see like any of the good coaches out there yapping and whining about that. No, look, if a team fires a good coach, right, because of his race, that is their prerogative. But they won't win any more Super Bowls or any Super Bowls. They won't make the playoffs. It is kind of their fault. So honestly, I don't think we should have these, hiring rules. We just come send in random people, to come in and interview for job positions. I mean, it's ridiculous. Come on. Hello.
Press conference as an opportunity to deliver a rather incoherent speech about race. Let's watch that again.
Let's watch the clip, people. Watch the clip.
I do see color because I believe if you don't see...
Look at this. You got Robert Kraft sitting there right behind the Patriots logo, the Gillette Stadium, and the Patriots helmet. Why are you yapping about race? Like, please, just yap about... The only race that he should be yapping about is the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine.
Color, you can't see racism. And whatever happens, black, white, disabled person, I've always, even someone with disabilities, I always, for the most part, people are like, when they're young, they kind of make the spot hot. Younger people know what that means.
No, we don't. I don't know what make the spot hot means. And honestly, this is not the way an NFL coach should be talking. You should be talking about yards to gain, first down, passing, strategy, defense. Go focus on that. That's your one job. Your one job, right? If you're a head coach, either help the defense, help the offense, do it all. Help with hiring, help with firing, cutting people. That's your one job. You're not here to have a podcast. You're not Matt Walsh. Okay, that's not what your job is. Okay, what your job is to focus on football. So just stop it. Get off the altar of blackness. Right, NFL season. Runs from about August. You got the practices and the what's it called, preseason. So let's say August to if you make the Super Bowl, which he's not and will not, but let's say hypothetically August, February. Just get off the altar. Stop worshiping blackness as a virtue or as a religion for those few months. From all we ask is from August to February. Go out there and win. Not you. You don't have to win. Screw the Patriots. But if you're a team that I actually like the Texans, go out there and win. You can go out there, and in the month of April, you can go out there and start whining about everyone is racist and sad, and then we'll dunk on you because you have a Lombardi trophy.
But what I would say is, no, I want you to be able to go up to those people and really understand those people. So it goes back to whatever it is, black, white, yellow, it really doesn't matter, but it does matter so we can try to fix a problem that we all...
What problem? What problem? Okay? It's not your job to go out there and solve world hunger, which you can't. It's biblically impossible. It's not your job out there to go out there and try to solve, quote unquote, racism in America, which, whatever. And then it's not your job out there to go out there and try to solve random problems that do not exist. It's your job out there to try to score more points than the other team. You had a terrible schedule last season, so you should have been able to win more than 3 games. You had a last place schedule. So you literally lost to the Jets last season, I believe. So just be better.
No, we have.
Whatever happens, black, white, disabled person, even someone with disabilities, I've always, for the most part, people are like, when you're young, you kind of make the spot hot. Younger people know what that means. I'm just quoting him verbatim.
Still don't. What spot is he talking about? What's becoming hot? And I think we have right now proof that saying coaches that say Spot hot, don't win Super Bowls. Bill Belichick never said, make the spot hot.
Well, then maybe a younger person can translate that, because a year later, I still have no idea what he was trying to say. I really don't. All I know is that he decided to somehow, in his own way, try to make his hiring about race. And so it's inevitable that his firing would also become a story about race. Now, Mayo himself, as far as I know, hasn't made that claim, at least not yet. But
I mean, he only did win 3 games, I believe. Right? So
some race baiters in the media have piped up right on cue to announce that Mayo was actually fired for being black, not for being a really bad coach, which he is. MSNBC published an op-ed with this title.
Ah, yes. MSNBC. MSNBC, it's like the TV version of the Open View, which is just a sickening, disgusting radio show.
So there's a double standard for
like people always, he wants to win equally. So he want to win an equally. You see, you lose brain cells from watching that show. Yeah, you know what you lose brain cells from? The Open View. See, I almost forgot their name just because of how bad it is. Like whenever I have to hear that show, my brain cells just kind of like roll over and die. Kind of like, well.
Black NFL coaches. Gerard Mayo's firing shows it. The article, written by somebody named Keith Reed, says this, quote, the NFL has a history of giving lopsided opportunities to white male coaches. The short leash the Pats gave Mayo shows how far the league is from fulfilling its promises to do better at creating racial equity in its coaching corps. Mayo's termination is a reminder of how rarely black head coaches get fair shots at turning their teams around.
Interesting. No, this is one coach. You don't know him. Drafted D'Amico Ryans, Texans with 3-14 the season before. They drafted a new quarterback, CJ Stroud, just like the Patriots drafted a new quarterback, and some guy, he's good. Forgot his name, but they did draft a new quarterback. Let me look up his name. Right, and the Texans had Drake May. Yeah, they drafted Drake May. Okay, and the Texans drafted a new quarterback in CJ Stroud. This is last season. We hired former player D'Amico Ryans to come to our team, and we made the playoffs, 10-7, right? And we won a game against the Browns, right? In the next season, we did the same exact thing against a first-place schedule, and we made the playoffs, and we're playing the Chargers. I'm at time of this recording, and we're going to beat the Chargers. All right, now let's look at Gerard Mayo. He got hired. He had Drake May. He decided not to start him until week 6. That's his prerogative. That's his point. And they only won 3 games. So, maybe he should have won more. I don't know.
Assuming fairness is defined, at least in part, by getting more than a single season to make progress. Now, sure, if you define fairness as getting a second chance in an extremely high-paying job after utterly failing the first time around, but that's not how you should define fairness. Because when you're getting paid millions of dollars, you're expected to perform right away.
Exactly. And it's not your constitutional right to, have a head coaching job. Like, Mayo is going to be fine.
You don't get a year-long runway to figure it out. And you probably won't get a second chance if you fail to figure it out. That's especially the case in football, which is a results-oriented business and always has been. You know what keeps me up?
And everyone can see those results. Here we go. Let's pass up the ad.
They'll get benched or cut. Coaches get fired. That's because football is still and will always be a ruthless meritocracy. That's why I love it. It's also why it's America's sport in my mind. But
Yep. It is a meritocracy. And the teams that do well, usually coaches do not get fired. And sometimes you can do, decent enough, right? Maybe 9-8, like the Bengals coach, Zach Taylor, and people were calling for him to get fired from the Bengals subreddits. But, we did just enough. Missed the playoffs because the Chiefs lost intentionally. Not intentionally as in they didn't want to see the Bengals, but intentionally as in they locked up everything, so they rested their starters. And the Broncos had, something to play for. But, he might get to keep his job. And some people say, that's racist. No, he won like 5 times more games than the other guy.
That didn't stop the race baiters from doing what they do best. Stephen A. Smith on ESPN also.
How does this guy have a job? Like, apparently Stephen A. Smith is kind of like this anti-Dallas Cowboys basher, and then halfway political commentator, and he gets paid millions of dollars to kind of scream on ESPN. I'll go on ESPN and scream. Yeah, I'll scream Texans are the best, 24 hours a day, and I will go on there and take my $6 million check. So I'm putting in my application.
Enjoying this chorus. Listen.
That's what this is about. This is about Mike Vrabel. That's who they wanted. No question about it. And he's a more seasoned, more experienced coach.
And that does make sense. Mike Vrabel is a better coach. He has made the AFC Championship game back in 2020. And he came from Patriots way. He's also worked with, not as good talent. He's worked with Ryan Tannehill. He did have Derrick Henry, but still, they have Stevenson over there who does fumble. But he had comparable levels of talent.
I don't like this. They call it Black Friday Black Monday rather for a reason. This certainly typifies it. I don't know why it's not.
It has nothing to do with black people. Okay, Black Friday is not the day that the slave ships came in or whatever ridiculous conspiracy theory that some of these black websites have you believe. No.
All White Monday. Doug Peterson got fired from Jacksonville. He deserved that firing. Gerard Mayer clearly was not given an opportunity, a lengthy enough opportunity, considering how.
17 weeks, 18 if you include the bye week. He'll be fine.
What Bill Belichick left him with from a talent perspective, considering the record, considering the way the team.
Sorry, I was saying this wrong. They finished 4-13, not 3-14. Makes it so much better. And also, that last win does not even count. Okay, the Bills were resting their starters. They had everything picked. They had nothing to play for. They probably should have
performed. He didn't help himself with some of the comments he made, calling the team soft and what have you, and having to retract statements. And we get all of that. But no matter what we can point to, at the end of the day, the folks in New England were turning against Gerard Mayo. We all know this. And I think it has.
Yes, they turned against him because he was trash.
Has something to do with the fact that Vrabel is available. And that's really what's going on here. They don't want to lose him, especially the team like the New York Jets. They want to be in the running, and they can't do that with him as the head coach.
Now, the problem for the race baiters is that 5 head coaches have been fired in the NFL this season so far. Only one of them is black. 3 are white, and 1 is, I think, Lebanese or something. So now it's true that.
What's his name? The Raiders coach, who also deserved it.
The other fired coaches had more than a season under their belts, though in most cases not much more than a season.
Yeah, they came in, halfway through the season.
So is it then the case that, as the MSNBC article claims, that black head coaches are more likely to get the axe after just 1 year on the job?
No.
Well, let's take a look. According to an article in The Athletic, over the past decade and a half, there have been 13 coaches fired after 1 season. By my count, 9 of the 13 are white, 4 are black. So that's more than twice as many white head coaches as black who were fired after 1 season. And one of them, Lovie Smith, was fired by the Houston Texans and replaced by another black coach. His replacement, D'Amico Ryans, went on to win his.
He actually had success. Okay.
Division and make the playoffs his first 2 years on the job. One of the other black head coaches on the list is Hugh Jackson, who was fired by the Raiders after 1 season in 2011. A few years later, he got another opportunity as a head coach.
Yeah, I was listening to this video. Listen to this, guys. This is ridiculous. I think he coached the Browns because it's the only team that could have been this bad.
Of the Cleveland Browns, in this case. He coached, I think, 40 games for them and won.
That's about 2.5 seasons? Yeah.
3 of them. He also tied once. So his overall head coaching record is 11, 44, and 1. He is statistically.
Which means in order to get a just 500 record, which is what you should be striving for, if you're that bad, you want to be at least 500. 11, 44, he'd have to have like 3 perfect seasons.
Statistically speaking, the worst NFL head coach since 1941. So since before the Super Bowl existed. So to review, while the media claims that black head coaches get a short leash and are fired more quickly than white head coaches, turns out that over the past 14 years, only 4 black head coaches have been fired after 1 season, while double that many white head coaches were fired after 1 season in the same time.
From the Texans, who those coaches both sucked.
Frame. At least one of them, it might be more, I didn't check, was replaced by another black coach. In fact, the longest tenured head coach in the NFL right now is black. Mike Tomlin of the Steelers has been their coach for 18 years.
And he's a good coach. He won a Super Bowl.
He also hasn't won a playoff game in almost a decade. He's 0-5 in the postseason since 2016.
About to go 1-5. About to go 1-5.
And he's about to be 0-6 after this weekend.
No.
And this is the league that allegedly is unfair to black coaches.
But to be fair to Tomlin, he hasn't had a losing season ever. So if he did have a losing season, he might get fired because 0-6 in the playoffs is just embarrassing. 5. Sorry.
The league where a black man is the longest tenured head coach in the league, despite a total lack of playoff success in nearly a decade, and where every one-and-done coach for the past 15 years or so, save 2, has been white. But, these are all just...
Don't care about your feelings. So, there's that. God bless. Go Texans. Hope you guys can see. The Jersey, go Texans. Obviously, you're going to beat the Chargers. So sorry to the 2 Chargers fans out there. Bye.